Nabard was one of the very important sources for that. Your YouTube videos, for the explainers, the MCQ series on different reports, budget, economic surveys, that provided me with very good practice. I also extracted content out of those explainer videos to include in my notes.
ऑलिव पोर्ट का वो मेंटरशिप प्रोग्राम था, उसमें अनिल सर के 2-3 सेशंस हुए थे, तो उन्होंने भी गाइड किया कि क्या अप्रोच रखना चाहिए, अगर मेंस का पेपर के लिए प्रिपेयर करना है तो वो कैसे प्रिपेयर करना है, प्रीलिम्स के लिए अगर अप्रोच रखना है तो वो कैसे रखना है, तो इस तरह से ओवरऑल फिर एग्जीक्यूशन के साथ में हुए।
Hello everyone, very good evening. Welcome to my name is Varsha Dhiman, and here in this particular session, we are going to cover the current affair events related and development which are important for your education. So this session is very important because there are some important events that happened in the last week, like the Atmanirbharta in pulses production get an cabinet committee of economic affairs has approved the Atmanirbharta in pulses production. This mission is for the approval last week. Okay, and as well as the new updated MSP minimum support prices were approved for the Arabic session. Okay, and there are some certain other important events that happened in the last week, which are very, very important for your examination. Okay, so here we are going to cover all these things in detail so that you don't miss anything. Uh, so that you will not miss anything in your examination if there will be any question from this particular point, right? Now, moving ahead, please let me know that the voices, I think everything is clearly audible and visible to you, and make sure that you are attending this session to the last minute. Okay, so let's start our discussion. Here we go. Yeah, see, aspirant, this is important. Okay, you should have this application if you are a serious aspirant, you are targeting competitive examination and you are seriously want to prepare and qualify the examination. This app is must to have in your mobile. Okay, and this is a batch for your Nabard graded preparation. You can get the admission in this batch and start your preparations. Okay, so first news, let's talk about the biosphere reserve. So we have biosphere reserves in our country. Okay, why the biosphere, why the certain geographical areas are classified as a biosphere reserve? Because of the climatic conditions of that area, because they are supporting a different type of life or the living organism. So that's why to conserve the population of these living organisms, these specific geographical areas are classified as a biosphere reserve. Okay, and this is a very great news for us that India's cold desert biosphere reserve. So there can be a question like where is a cold desert biosphere reserve is located? If you are not attending this current affairs session, so the most of the aspirants will think cold desert, okay, it will be better with the Leh Ladakh or with the Jammu Kashmir, and they will mark it and they will definitely get your answer wrong because cold desert biosphere reserve is located in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so recently this biosphere reserve in Himachal Pradesh it is included in UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserve. So this is what first important news, okay? And this announcement was made on 27th of September 2025. Okay, and it is informed by our Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Shri Bhupender Yadav ji, that during the 37th session of UNESCO International Coordinating Council, Man and the Biosphere, India's cold desert biosphere reserve, which is located in Himachal Pradesh, it is included in the World Network of Biosphere Reserve. So it is a good news, and we can say that we are moving in a direction for the conservation of our living species, floras as well as faunas. And now, if we talk about how many biosphere reserves from India are listed in the UNESCO World Network of Biosphere Reserve are, so there are total 13 biosphere reserves from our country which are listed there, which shows that we are committed towards biodiversity conservation and community-led sustainable development. We are moving in this direction so that our biodiversity will be conserved as well as community-led sustainable development. In our previous session also we talk about it. What is it? Basically, the people who are living near to that particular area, if you approach them with the thought that their participation is needed, like you will consider them, you will give importance to the families or the communities who are living near a specific wildlife area or a forest area, they will take care of the resources in a much more better manner if it is compared with us, because they are aware about the habitats. We are not aware about that particular. Okay, we did the studies in that particular format, we know about the scientific terms related to the format, but the people who are living in that particular area, they know what are the natural way to conserve it, what are the natural way to deal with the problems if it will happen in this specific area. Okay, so the main concept behind the community led sustainable development is to save the wildlife, save the specific living species, as well as the communities who are associated with the specific wildlife and the living species. Okay, so this is important, and it was shared by our Union Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Okay, happy to share that during the 37th session of the UNESCO's International Coordinating Council, Man and the Biosphere held today, that is on 27th of September, India's cold desert biosphere reserve, which is at Himachal Pradesh, has been included in the World Network of Biosphere Reserve. Okay, this is the first important news. Now, another important news. So, this is the one heading, and the another heading, which is related with the Ramsar sites. So, recently, two sites from Bihar. One is Gokul Jalashay, which is having an area of 448 hectare, which is in Buxar district, and second is Udaipur Jheel, a geographical area of 319 hectare, which is in West Champaran district. So these two sites from Bihar are included under the Ramsar sites. Okay, this is also a very important news. Okay, and after including these two sites, now the updated number of Ramsar sites in our country is 93. So this is a very important information. And why these Ramsar sites? Okay, why we are considering some sites or the geographical areas as a Ramsar sites? Because we are targeting, we are committed to conserve the wetlands as well. Okay, which are committed to conserve the wetlands as well, and this will to improve the process of wetland conservation. Okay, now moving ahead. Yeah, it is to safeguard a rich wetland ecosystem for biodiversity, climate resilience, and sustainable livelihood. And this is specific information that he mentioned. Okay, so you can see there the name of these two Ramsar sites are Gokul Jalashay and Jalashay. Jalashay is basically for the water bodies, okay, and Udaipur Jheel. Okay, so these two are mentioned here. Now, another important event. Okay, so recently, Food and Agriculture Organization has addressed or announced a global conference. Okay, held. There is a global conference held in Rome, and our Union Minister for of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairy, Shri Rajiv Ranjan Singh ji, he was welcomed there and he addressed it. Okay, and it was a second edition of Global Conference on Sustainable Livestock Transformation. Okay, although FAO is conducting a lot of global conferences, but they were initially related with the agriculture production format. Okay, now we have started considering on the fact that there's a need to have sustainable livestock transformation. So because livestock is contributing in our overall GDP and also the economic developments of the nations, and as well as for ensuring the food security at the global level as well as the national level. Okay, food security and the nutritional security as well. Okay, so let's talk about it. So at the high level ministerial session, when Sri Rajiv Ranjan Singh ji addressed that specific conference, he mentioned that innovations has occurred, transformations had occurred, and because of all these, we as a country has evolved and transformed in this dairy sector, the livestock sector, and we are emerging out as a power. Like we are one of the largest producer of milk, we are one of the largest producer of poultry. Okay, so that means we are taking scientific measures for the better development of our livestock sector. Okay, so all these points were highlighted by our Union Minister of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry, and Dairying there. Okay, so this is about it. And another important highlights. So before moving on the important highlights, let's talk about it. So with while conveying India's deep appreciation to FAO. So this is important, huh? This is for your general awareness portion. Who is the Director General of FAO? So recently, if we talk about the current Director General of FAO, his name is Dr. Q Dong Q. Okay, and obviously, whenever we welcomed welcomed at any such gatherings, we have to show the gratitude. Na, that it's a privilege for us to be invited at this such a grand event, such a gathering, such a conference. Okay, so similarly, our India's minister, he express a gratitude in this direction, and for inviting India to share its experience and best wishes. Okay, and with that, India's role as a first vice chair of, this is for the first time that India uh, was a vice chair of the subcommittee on livestock established under FAO. This is for the first time that we received this kind of opportunity. Okay, and during this specific conference, we highlighted the series of transformative and inclusive events like the National Gokul Mission is there, specific programs are there, METRI initiatives are there. We discussed about all the specific measures we had taken in this direction to boost our livestock sector. Okay, when our livestock sector will progress well, what kind of achievements we will have, we will be able to eradicate poverty, we will be having the nutrient rich food, we will be food security will be there, nutritional security will be, as well as a livelihood will be strengthened, because now we are having one more source of livelihood. Initially, most of the people who are living in the rural areas, they have the opportunity, like they can do the agriculture practice and that's it, even though they were following their daily practices also, but they were not having the scientific means to do that. Now they're having more scientific measures, like now they're having the good infrastructure facilities, now they're having the good storage facilities there, so they can use their dairy products for a long period of time, and they can enhance a shelf life of the commodities, which will help them to earn extra income. Okay, so all these points were highlighted, and it was also mentioned that India's welfare measures have lifted 269 million people out of extreme poverty. Okay, so these measures which were taken by our country, the livestock sector, we observed that 269 million people now out of the extreme poverty. Now reducing it, so earlier it was like nearly 27.1%. Now it is reduced to 5.3%, and it is as per the World Bank report of the year 2000. This is the latest data, right? Please highlight this data in your. Okay. Another important thing, we all know that livestock sector is very important. Okay, this is providing the livelihoods. Okay, and the nearly two-third of the people or the households living in rural areas, they are dependent on the livelihood process. We observe that livelihood sector has recorded an impressive CAGR of 12.77% in recent years, that and our livestock sector is contributing 31% to its value added and 55.5% of the national economy. Okay, this is important, like how our livestock sector. And if we talk about this specific factor, we are the largest producer of milk, accounting for nearly 25% of global output and having an annual production of 239 million. Okay, this is the latest data. and we are the second largest producer of egg and the leading exporter of buffalo. Okay, the buffalo meat is export are the lead one to export the buffalo, right? Now, another important point. So, what are our initiatives? So, obviously, when we are mentioning some important initiatives taken up by our country, we cannot go verbally only. We have to show the data also. Now, that these are the authentic data that okay, we need to highlight our progresses. Okay, so this information that we are about to share now, it can be used in framing your good descriptive answers. For example, let's suppose you're having a question in an examination, which are the following initiatives taken by our country in the livestock sector to boost. You can mention these points, and that's how you will frame a very good answer. Okay, let's talk about it. So first initiative is we are having the Rashtriya Gokul. The main agenda behind the Rashtriya Gokul mission is that we need to promote the indigenous cattle breed. Okay. Earlier, we were collecting the semens from the exotic cattle and inseminating the semen inside the indigenous cattle. Okay. But now we are progressing towards the indigenous cattle breeds, and we are taking specific measures so that we will be able to improve the genetic potential of our indigenous breeds of cattle. Okay, and over 92 million animals have benefited because of this mission, and we had supported more than 56 million farmers. So this is our achievement. And as like the disease, as like the infections we have in human beings and in other lives on earth, similarly the animals, the livestock that we are raising, they also suffer from a lot of disease, bacterial, microbial, fungal infections, viral infection, and there is a need that they should be vaccinated on regular time intervals so that their population will not suffer from it. Okay, so we implement the world's largest livestock vaccination program, and under this largest vaccination program, we had administered over 1.2 billion doses annually so that the major disease in the cattle will not occur. We will be able to combat it. Okay, and India is also a global hub for high quality, and we are the high quality vaccine producers and the export. So obviously, we are uh, like vaccinating our cattle and the livestock so that they will not suffer from such kind of. Okay. Similarly, like we have the national agriculture markets, we have the digital agriculture mission. Similarly, we are digitalizing our livestock sector also. We had digitalized our livestock mission, and now it is National Digital Livestock Mission. And through this Bharat Pashudhan, okay, under which digital ID systems are created to enable traceability, early disease detection, and ensure safety of animal products. So whatsoever the products we are extracting out from our livestock, we can ensure the safety of it. And till today, 353 million animals are registered there, and nearly 94 million livestock owners has registered themselves on this portal. Now we are having all the data available to us, like how many cattle are registered, and we can take specific measures if we found that this particular cattle is suffering from a disease, it needs a vaccination, and these cattle are showing some different kind of behaviors. On that basis, we can take specific measures, right? And India's US $3.5 million. Okay, so this much fund is allotted by our country for the infrastructure development. Okay, where we are keeping our livestock. That specific space should be neat, clean, infection free, disease free. Okay, we need to have the feed plants, we need to have the meat processing units, we need to have the breeding units. Okay, so that much fund is allotted by our country to boost our infrastructures. Okay, boost our infrastructures where we are keeping our livestock population. Right, so this is another initiative that was discussed during the conference. Another initiative is we are having the METRI program. So under the METRI programs, there are some veterinarians or the technicians who are providing the doorstep facilities to the animal husbanders, doorstep facilities of sex sorted semen, that and that will be at the nominal charges, so that the farmers can promote the indigenous breeding program, and they will be having that sex sorted semen which they can artificially inseminate with the help of the supervised or the experienced individuals. Okay, so at the grassroots level, India has trained local resource persons through the mentoring programs to deliver breeding services even in remote areas. And through A Help, India is empowering rural women to contribute meaningfully to animal health, reinforcing the role of women in livestock development. Please mention this point in your notebook. A help is related with what? You can have this question in your exam. A help is related to empowering the women. A is related with the animal husbandry. Okay, so that this animal, the women can work in this direction for maintaining or for contributing meaningfully to the health related factor of the animals, right? Another is we are having one health approach, recognizing the interconnectedness of human, animal, and environmental health. Okay, so we calls for predictable, stable funding for transboundary animal health program, including through the FAO regular budgets, right? And he has backed the resolution on antimicrobial resistance in agri-food system and is implementing a national action plan which is aligned with the global action plan. Okay, that is for the antimicrobial resistance. Right. Moving ahead, so we are having the US $25 million, which is granted for the G20 pandemic fund, so that the animal health security system will boost now. Okay, and this effort is supported by partnership with the FAO, ADB, and Asian Development Bank, World Bank, and the Food and Agriculture Organization. Okay, so and with this, over 70% of India's dairy workforce are women. That is supporting the women empowerment. And this white revolution, we know about the white revolution, which is basically to improve the production of dairy products. So it is a testament that we are this is not the new subject which we are talking about. This is the age old subject. We are taking specific features from decades, okay, to improve our dairy sector, to improve the production in our dairy sector. Okay, and India and Ireland jointly co-sponsored the resolution for the International Day of Milk, endorsed by the 44th FAO conference, and looking forward to its consideration by the United Nations General Assembly. Okay, so these were the important words, last words by our minister during this global conference. Okay, so that's all about this particular news. Now moving on the next important news article. So this is about, yeah. So in the announcement of the union budget for the year 2025-26, we had a special mention that we will take specific steps so that we will uh, enhance the production of pulses in our country, and we are targeting to become self-reliant in pulses production or Atmanirbhar in pulses production in the next 5 years. Okay, so this uh, Atmanirbharta in pulses production was announced in the budget speech, but recently, like on 1st of October 2025, this Atmanirbharta mission received an approval from Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Now we are having the budget outlay, now we have the target decided, now we have the objectives in this specific regard, and we have special words to improve the production of pulses in our country. Okay, so recently, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has mentioned now there's a need to take specific steps in this direction, and we the mission for Atmanirbharta in pulses, which is a landmark initiative aimed at boosting domestic production and achieving self-sufficiency in pulses. It has received an approval. Okay, and it will be a 6 year period, like starting from 2025-26. Okay, there's a till 2030-31. Now, the budget allocation or the financial outlay of this budget of this specific mission is 11,440 crore, and if it can be updated in future, okay, it will be updated in future as per the requirement. So recently, for now, the budget allocation for this mission is 11,440 crore. This is important because this mission is in news in the year 2025. Okay, and recently the budget allocation is done. So for sure you might have the question in your exam related to the budget allocation. Okay, so please highlight this in. We know that pulses are very important because pulses are the good source of proteins, they are good the source of fat, so we need to maintain them. Okay, we need to have a good production of the pulses, and as we are one of the largest producers of pulses, largest consumer of pulses, so with the rising income, with the rising incomes and standard of living, pulses consumption has increased. Okay. However, domestic production has not kept pace with demand, leading to 15 to 20% increase. Although we are one of the largest producer of pulses, but we are also the largest consumer of pulses. So because of the largest consumption of pulses in our country, because we know the pulses, importance of pulses, that they are the richest sources of proteins. Okay, every year we observe that we need to import nearly 15 to 20% of pulses from other countries. Okay, so that's why we had decided to give a boost in the pulses production so that we will not be uh, dependent on other countries for fulfilling our pulses requirements in the near future. So that's why the mission for Atmanirbharta in pulses was announced in the budget speech. Okay, and that mission will be for the upcoming 6 years. Okay, so that we will reduce the import dependency. Specific strategies are decided. A seed system will be followed, area expansion will be taken into consideration, procurement. So initially, when we want, for example, at our home, also we observe when we are about to encourage someone for a specific work, we need to take very delicate steps so that the person will not feel an extra burden. Are asking the person to take a push in a specific direction. So similarly, when our country, our cabinet committee on economic affairs that has approved it, we need to become Atmanirbhar in pulses production. So firstly, we need to support the farmer by providing them 100% procurement. Like whatsoever the pulses they will be produced, they will get the fair prices for the pulses production, and that is a responsibility of the cabinet committee or the nodal agencies who will procure the pulses from the farmers so that the farmers will get the better prices for their productions. Okay, and that will also to create the price stability in the market. Otherwise, some people will, the middlemen especially, they will procure the pulses from the farmers at the nominal charges and sell it in the market at the highest prices. That will create a lot of price fluctuation in the market. So we need to maintain that specific situation. Okay. So this mission will take some comprehensive strategies to maintain it so that this kind of situation will not occur. Okay. And yeah, this thing will also be taken care of the varieties that we are supplying to the farmers. Okay. Or the seeds that we are supplying to the farmer, that should be of the latest or the updated qualities. Okay, all the latest varieties of pulses which are having the high in productivity, which are pest resistant and climate resilient, that should be provided to the farmers. Multi-location trials will be carried out in major pulse growing states so that regional suitability will occur. Okay, another points, in addition for ensuring availability for premium quality seeds, states will prepare 5 year rolling seed production plans. Okay, 5 year rolling seed production plan will be prepared by the seeds so that they will not occur the situation like we are having the scarcity of the pulses seeds. That's the reason we are not able to uh, grow the dedicated area for the pulses production. Okay, so to ensure that we will be having the requisite amount of basic planting material. There is a need to have a specific plan. Okay, and the states will prepare this specific plan for rolling seed production. Okay, with this, breeder seed production will be supervised by ICAR. So ICAR will supervise the states to do the breeder seeds production. Foundation and certified seed production will be done by state and central level agencies, closely tracked through the Sathi portal. So there is a portal created to track all the activities. Are they going on well or not? And Sathi stands for Seed Authentication, Traceability, and Holistic Inventory. Please mention the full form of Sathi. It can be asked in your examination. Okay, and to make improved varieties widely available. Okay, so all the farmers should get the improved varieties of the pulses. So for this, 126 lakh quintals certified seeds will be distributed to pulse growing farmers covering 370 lakh hectares by 2030. So we are giving this mission a time period of 5 years, and during that 5 year, 126 lakh quintals certified seeds will be distributed to the pulse growing farmers so that they will give us a good production in pulses production. Okay, and this will be complemented by convergence with the soil health. So initially, for example, when we target, like I'm teaching olive and we need to a specific person, what we do, all the person who are in the team, they simply try to encourage the person, simply try to appreciate every single person is, for example, you're prepared for commercials, ask your mentor, they will guide you. Ask your friends for the help, they will appreciate you, they will encourage you wherever they can. Similarly, this is for the first time we are taking a mission for pulses production, enhancement in pulses production. Okay. So all the other missions which are in progress, which are giving good results, they will come forward to complement it. They will come forward to push, give a push to this mission. Okay, so currently the mission that will support the Atmanirbharta and pulses production, they are the soil health submission on agricultural mechanization, balanced fertilizer use, plant protection, extensive demonstration by ICA, KVKs, and state departments to promote best practices. Okay, so, and the mission will also seek to expand the area under pulses by an additional 35 lakh hectares by targeting rice fallow areas. Okay, the areas which were earlier under the rice cultivation, now they are converted into the fallow lands. Like their areas are not having adequate in them, and we can again use the areas for rice or the paddy cultivation. We can use that particular area also for pulses production and other diversifiable lands. And that's how, supported by promoting intercropping, we can follow the intercropping practices. So that can mean for pulses production. Crop diversification we can also do. So for this 88 lakh seed kits will be distributed free of cost to farmers. Okay, so initially we wants to support the farmers so that farmers will consider this as a good step on farmlands. Okay, so that's how initially we need to boost them up by providing them free subsidies, by providing them seed kits. Okay, okay. Another important points to be considered is we need to the capacity building. So what we do under the capacity building generally, so under the capacity building, what we are doing, we are following the method of extension education to educate the farmers about the of a specific crop. Okay, and the seed growers will be taken up through structured training programs will be provided to them, okay, so that they can grow well. Okay, when the farmer is investing their 4 or 5 months of time period on any agriculture crop, they should be aware about the stepwise practices that they have to take care. So this capacity building of the farmers will be provided. Consider that they will be provided with proper trainings that will promote the sustainable techniques and modern technology, right? as well as market and value chain structures will be strengthened. Okay, post-harvest infrastructures will be prepared. That will be include 1,000 processing units, okay, so that the crop losses will be reduced, improved value addition, and increasing farmers' income. And a maximum subsidy of rupees 25 lakhs will be available. Okay, so that much subsidy will be provided to the individuals who are ready to do efforts in setting up of the processing units or the packaging units in the nearby areas. Because the pulses, we cannot use the pulses directly, na? They need to be processed well first, they need to be packaged, okay, so that we can transport them or we can store them, or we need to took specific measures so that we can improve the shelf life of the pulses that we had harvested from our agriculture land. Okay, so specific trainings will be provided to the farmer to do some post-harvest practices, and specific infrastructures need to be established in the area so that the pulses will be stored there till the next market need. Okay, and the cluster-based approach will be followed. More effective allocation of resources will be enabled. Productivity will be enhanced. We need to promote the geographic diversification of the pulses. So, one important point that is need to be discussed. See, okay, we are taking step in enhancing the pulses production, but it doesn't mean that any area can be good for the pulses production. No, we need to choose a specific geographical area which is having a specific kind of that will support the pulses production. Okay, so we need to promote the geographic diversification of particular area if it is having all the essential nutrients present in it, and if it is a rice fallow land which can be converted for the pulses production. And as I already told you in one session, we are focusing on the production of tur, urad, and masoor first, because these pulses, the basic requirement, the basic climatic requirements, and the soil condition requirement of these crops is adjustable. Okay, so initially we are focusing on these crops. Okay, and we will assure maximum procurement of these pulses under price support scheme of Pradhan Mantri Annadata Aay Sanrakshana Abhiyan. NAFED and NCCF, they will be the nodal agencies. They will do the 100% procurement of the participating states for the next 4 years. So they will procure for the next 4 years. The mission is for the 5 years, but they will procure the pulses for the next 4 years, okay, who register with these agencies and enter into agreements. So please mention this point in your notebook. It is important. And we will be having the mechanism for monitoring the global pulse prices so that the farmer interest will be safeguarded. Okay, and what we are targeting, like in the next 5 years, by following specific strategies, preparation plans, we are expecting to expand we are expecting to expand the area of production to 310 lakh hectares, increase production to 350 lakh tons, and raise yield to 1130 kg per hectare. So this is our expectation from the mission. Okay, this is our expectation from the mission. Now moving ahead. Yeah, the mission seeks to achieve the goal of Atmanirbharta in pulses. So, yeah, why we are focusing on this mission, so that we will become Atmanirbhar in pulses production, reduce the import dependency, and conserve valuable foreign exchange while boosting farmers' income. And this mission will also accrue significant environmental benefits in the climate resilience practices and improve the soil health and making productive use of crop fells. Right, so this is all about the pulses production. Now, recently, what has happened that Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, it has approved the minimum support price for the Rabi crops. Okay, so we are in a good time to start the sowing of seeds for our Rabi crops. Okay, for the marketing season, like they will be harvested in the month of Feb, March, and April 2026. Now, so initially the minimum support price is approved by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs for the Rabi crops. Okay, so and it is approved on 1st of October 2025. Okay, and we are observing increase in the prices in the increase in the minimum support prices for all mandated rabi crops for the marketing season 2026-27. Okay, And that is to ensure why, because we observe that remunerative prices of the growers, so that the farmers will get good prices for their produce. Okay, so what is the reason? Like, I'll tell you the reason also why there is a need to have increase or some changes in the MSP of the Rabi crops, because uh, the practices the farmers have to adopt in the agriculture field, other than the seed sowing. Okay, now they need to focus on some specific practices also to enhance their production. Fertilizers are costly, irrigation facilities, like they are also demanding a lot of money. So that's how it is a need of the hour that the MSP for these, like the basic cost of production has increased. That's why there's a need to increase the MSP of these mandated Rabi crops. Okay. Now, what we had observed, the absolute highest increase in MSP has been announced for safflower. So we observe the safflower price has increased by 600 rupees per quintal, and after that for lentils or masoor it has increased rupees 300 rupees per quintal. For rapeseed and mustard, gram, barley, wheat, there is an increase of rupees 250 per quintal. For gram, it is 225 per quintal. For barley, it is 170 per quintal. And for wheat, so it is like, if we are about to say which crops show a minimum increase in the MSP as compared to the previous year, so it is a wheat. Okay, and you can see the list here. So the MSP for the Rabi marketing season 2025-26, so it is 2585, and the cost of production for this year, so we are expecting the cost of production is 1239. Okay, and what is the MSP? It is a 1.5 times of the cost of production. So that's why we are expecting it to be 2585, and the margin over cost in percentage, so it is the how much margin of over cost we're expecting, that is 109%. And the MSP for 2025, so for the year 2025 it was 2425 rupees. So the increase is of rupees 160 rupees. Okay, increase in MSP is of 160 rupees. So here you can see for the safflower it is we are observing an increase of 600 rupees. So this table is very important. Either you can take the screenshot of this table, or I'm providing the notes now. You can take the help of the notes, but please have this table in your notebook. It is a very, very important. Okay, make the notes of this table, right? Make a notes of this table, so so that you will learn the MSP of these important Rabi crops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these 14 Kharif crops table we had already discussed. Okay, and these are six important Rabi crops. Six important Rabi crops, right? Now, this table you have to learn, and the why there was a need to have increase in the MSP. One is the all paid costs, such as those incurred on account of, because of the farmers have to hire the human labor, bullock labors, machine labors, rent paid for lease in land, expenses incurred on use of material inputs like seeds, fertilizers, manures, irrigation charges, depreciation on implements and farm building, interest on working capital, disease, electricity for operation of farm set, etc. Miscellaneous expenses and imputed value of family. Okay, so all these are the regions that are considered. Okay, and that's why it was observed that there's a need to have an increase in the MSP for. Okay, now we have the increase in MSP for mandated Rabi crops for marketing season 2026-27. Okay, the increase in MSP for mandated Rabi crops marketing season 2026 is in line with the Union Budget 2018-19 announcement of fixing the MSP at a level of at least. So please mention this notebook in your notebook. Okay, please mention in this in your notebook. We are observing an increase in the MSP for mandated Rabi crops as per the Union Budget announcement of 2020, 2018-19. Okay, so from that year onwards, we always observe there's an increase in the MSP, and it is also always considered that the basic cost of production while deciding on the minimum cost of production, minimum support price to the farmers. Okay, and the expected margin over all India weighted average cost of production is 109% for followed by 90% for seed and mustard, 89% for lentils, 59% for grams, 58% for and 50% for safflower. Okay, so these are the expected margins, right? And these are the important points that you have to take care. And this is a batch aspirants. You can take the admission in this batch and start the preparation with us. Okay. And if you're having any doubt or any query, please let me know in the comment box. And make sure that you have the notes of today's class because today we discussed a lot of important a lot of data. You need to cover or you need to learn the minimum support price of all the six Rabi crops, okay? And as well as you have to cover the Atmanirbharta and pulses for all such data. Okay, so here I'm ending a session for now. We'll in the next class with the next topic. Okay, bye bye and